And so much of the coaching that I do, though people talk about the good business concept, it's about the good soul. It's about really understanding who we are in order to build a business and serve other people, because broken people break people, whole people heal people. And so I want there to be a world of entrepreneurs that are healing as they're going out. And yes, we're always in a space of healing. We're always becoming. If you guys know my book, Always Becoming, I don't believe anybody is to a place where I can literally emulate everything that they're doing perfectly, except for Jesus, because no one's perfect and everyone is learning. If you're breathing, you're learning. So remember to utilize the passions that God has given you and infuse them into your business. I cannot stand when I have an entrepreneur who has one solid idea, they think it's going to work, and that's going to be the end-all, be-all, and they haven't infused this 80 other % of who they are as a person 80 other % of the time that they're existing and breathing. So you love to work out. You do it every single morning. How can fitness, how can your physical body, how can health and wellness be a part of what you do? And it doesn't have to be the premise of your monetization. But if you're extracting it and not talking about it, but you're doing it every single day, you are actually blocking the blessings of the people in your community. So even when Glenn talks about his 5F strategy of like faith, family, fitness, fun, finances, he's speaking now into his fitness journey that he's had over the last year. And he does that with intention because he is growing his influence. He is growing his community base now to people who are on track to get healthy. They want to run faster. They want to beat their past times, mile times. They want to have community around their health. What did you love when you were little? I was a gymnast for 16 years, and so health and nutrition has always been a part of what I do. And so it's a part of what I do now when I take women on retreats around the world. You're going to move because you're going to play. Remember your childlike inspirations regularly. Number 4, trust your truths regularly. This is something that I hear and summoned from Green Lights, which is a book by Matthew McConaughey. And Matthew and I, we released our books the same day last year, which was awesome because I got to beat him in some of the charts. I can't wait to tell him that in person one day. It was so awesome. I have screenshots of it to prove it. And it was one of those things that I could not wait to read his book. I just feel like sometimes God is giving us God winks right in those moments that if we don't take note to, then we're missing out on what he's saying to us. So trust your truth. If that's intuition, if that's your gut speaking, isn't your gut God? If you are a born-again Christian, you know that the Holy Spirit dwells inside of you. And if you're not, and that sounds really freaky, it's okay, I understand, but God's not a weirdo. Holy Spirit's not a weirdo. I have a client right now who is infusing this language to me, Gina, she's amazing. And she said, God's not a weirdo. I'm like, I've never heard anybody say that. I'm adopting it. And it's true. But when I say to trust your gut or trust your intuition, that's my truth. And I hope that you lean into those truths more often. And Matthew was on Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi's Thrive experience last week. It was such a good interview. If you missed it, I'm sure it'll be out somehow, some way for you guys to check it out. But he's reflecting on green lights, and he's talking about everything that he does is based on a gut intuition. It's a trusting of that intuition and then an activation of. That's what we're talking about right now. So if you've had this dream inside of you and you know that you are believing that it's going to happen one day, but you're sitting on your 2 hands, even a lot of Christians are actually guilty of this, which is why when I deal with my clients, I'm like, y'all, let's talk about this. We're partnering in this, right? Can I speak into you? If you are sitting, hoping and praying, Danelle Delgado speaks to hopium drug. The most addicted drug being used currently is hopium. I hope. One day I hope. Well, hope is action. Faith is action. And so you have to trust, and trust is action. Those truths, those God deposits that are coming into your spirit. So I thank you, Matthew McConaughey, for giving that world to millions, beyond the millions that I could touch. And for you all to take note that he believes in the same God. And it has led his career to where it is now, that he's actually now stepping in from his childlike inspirations, from his white space, from his doodling into the self-development realm. Who would have thunk it, right? All right, number 5, and this is still for the starter phase. This is still for you who is the starter. If you are about, and you're on the starting line of your business, of your road as entrepreneurship, or maybe a new launch, or maybe a new program, or maybe a new idea, and if that is not you and you're shaking your head, I'm curious what the heck you're doing here, because this is a place where starters hang out. Starters who are constantly starting are the millionaires in the making. And so number 5 is ask regularly. You might have heard this before, ask for help. This is obviously super critical, but it is the knowing that there is and there are, I'm going to use the right grammar here, there are people who are literally standing right next to you, maybe in this room right now, maybe in your church, maybe on the street corner, who want to help you. Stop shying away. I am saying this one for me, and I mentioned it already before, like we need helping hands at Grow for God. Grow Your Business for God's Sake is a team experience. It is not a Tamra experience. I don't want that. I have those mirror moments every single day, and the only reason I have those moments when we're talking about ego associated to what Amelia and Patricia were sharing earlier is because I know God has given me that ego to say yes.